Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. The league I'm in is going to close in about an hour and a half, but it turns out I'll still have a couple days to do the 5 matches, so we're definitely going to be doing another league here. For all the people that have been enjoying the standard, thanks for all the feedback. I've been enjoying this too, probably because I've been so successful with this deck, but still, I'm just amazed with how well this deck has been doing. I just looked at the record, and I believe I've won 14 out of my last 15 matches, which is just remarkably good. Even factoring, there's got to be some luck involved there too. I mean, land screw happens occasionally, so just incredible. The journey with this deck. So some slight changes since the last league. We're doing another Chief of the Foundry, and we're doing one more Thopter Engineer. We moved the Outpost Sieges to the sideboard. I dropped one Disdainful Stroke and one Dispel, and we swapped out Radiant Flames for Seismic Rupture. I should have looked into that a while ago. Seismic Rupture deals 2 damage to each creature without flying. Considering almost everything in my deck produces flyers, look how little dies if I play Seismic Rupture. It's basically the only thing that dies is Pia and Kiran Nalaar itself and Whirler Rogue. Everything else lives. The Chief of the Foundry, the Thopter Engineers, all of the flyers, obviously. I guess we also lose a Scion token, but whatever. So I think for the most part, Seismic Rupture is just going to be better, almost strictly better for us than Radiant Flames would be. For the most part, I think. We'll find out, I guess. So yeah, Outpost Sieges to sideboard. I'm thinking there might be a couple matches where I actually do want to sideboard into Outpost Siege. Very control-y matches with a lot of board wipes. Even though we're pretty resilient to them anyway, I think adding a couple Outpost Sieges wouldn't hurt. But we'll see. We'll see if this deck needs card draw. Since the beginning, it's either had Dig Through Time or Outpost Siege. So this will be a good opportunity to sort of discover if card draw is even necessary, or if we just have enough resilience where it's totally fine without it. So dropped a Disdainful Stroke just because I don't think 4 need to be brought in most of the time. The blue-green Eldrazi match is usually the only one where I bring in 4. And I'm very well matched there anyway, so it seems like I could drop a Disdainful Stroke and still be okay. And then drop a Dispel, because it seems like I usually don't bring in 2. The only time you really want more Dispels is against the Rally decks, but we can have Dispel and 4 negates. And I still think Disdainful Stroke is okay in that matchup. Basically, I've discovered if you want to win against the Rally deck, all you have to do is make sure Jace is killed when it's a creature, make sure Grim Haruspex is killed, and then counter Rally the Ancestors, counter Collected Company. Everything else can be fine. They can have their Zulaport Cutthroats, they can have their Catacomb Sifters. That deck is very beatable outside of those 4 cards. So that's the lesson I've learned from playing against it. All right, let's step into some more League. We'll see in a second. Okay, we're in our first League match of the day. This is definitely a mulligan. This one is a keep. 4th land, we're going to bottom that, actually. Especially since it's a Shivan Reef, which I don't think I particularly want. But no, I think we can draw better than a Shivan Reef. Even though we would like a 4th land. Another Shivan Reef. Are we perhaps playing the mirror match? That would be interesting. I've yet to play the mirror match. Probably because this is not an archetype. Or at least a very common one. Frontier Bivouac. Alright. Interesting. Playing against Rug. Alright, well, we get the nice Vile Aggregate into Pia and Kiran Nalaar, which I think I do like more than Thopter Engineer into Pia and Kiran Nalaar, since Vile Aggregate is such a big threat. Let's see. Morph. Alright, so likely Den Protector. People always got to read that Vile Aggregate. Understandable. I have had quite a few people miss out on the fact that it's got Trample, which is always amazing. They try and chump block it, and you're like, nope, you're taking 5 extra damage here. So I guess he could crack Wooded Foothills, undo Den Protector, get back Wooded Foothills, get in for 3. Kind of hope he does do that. Much rather him do that than get back. I guess he could also roast and then unmorph and get back roast. That'd be pretty insane. Savage Knuckleblade. All right. Wasn't expecting that. So it's interesting. I mean, we can roast the Knuckleblade. I don't know if I want to. I think it's going to be difficult for him to leave up 3 mana every turn. So why don't we just play Pia and Kiran Nalaar and then we'll pass. All right, we're going to take 4 here. No play. That's interesting. Foundry of the Consoles is also pretty good. Let's go Thopter Engineer. So I could roast the Den Protector, but I think we'll just swing with these guys. So I could have thrown a guy at the morph. Huh. That's interesting. So I guess why did you? That's interesting. Tapping the Pia and Kiran Nalaar. All right. I would have untapped Savage Knuckle. Well, we'll see. My opponent's blocking or not? Huh. So this plus Wild Slash has got to be what my opponent's doing here, huh? And we get to ingest. Okay. Well, we're going to kill the morph. I'm glad he Fiery Impulse now instead of at the end of turn, because now I can use Roast on the morph, which I think is going to be better. It's not going to let my opponent use Den Protector, which I still think that's what it is. Let's see what we ingest here. All right. Collected company. That's interesting. Let's just get rid of this. Could have gotten rid of the Savage Knuckle Blade, but I think this is Den Protector, in which case he'd get it back and be able to replay that. So it just makes more sense to me to get rid of that troublemaker. Theoretically, should be able to outrace the Savage Knuckle Blade. Number 2. All right. So you can give it haste. I think we're just going to take 4 here. Or 8 here, rather. See how we draw. Can only pump it, yeah. Okay. All right. Ooh, it was a nice top deck. All right. Let's go. So I think the plan is swing with these 4. And we're probably just going to chump block with a Thopter. Guess I should have attacked with the Engineer too, actually, in retrospect. But then again, next turn I can deal 5 and throw 2 Thopters with P and Kiernalar. Yeah, we're probably pretty safe. I guess he does have a Lumbering Falls too. But if he activates Lumbering Falls, he can't pump Savage Knuckle Blade. But attacking with the Engineer would have put him at 8. I guess it's irrelevant. Maybe keeping the Engineer back is still fine, now that I think about it. All right, top deck Lumbering Falls, so I think we just got the game here. You can attack with both. You can't get Trample. I just basically block with a Thopter. You can only activate the pump once per turn. All right. He has no cards left in hand. Yeah, we're safe here. Okay. So potentially take 6 here. Like I said, does not have Trample, so no big deal there. He can activate Lumbering Falls on defense, but I don't think that's important. We'll find out. So let's say I swing with everything. He activates the Lumbering Falls, blocks P and Kiernalar, and I sack 2 Thopters. That'd be 4, 6. That's only 7 damage. Guess I am a bit short on lethal here. Because if he blocks that, then I can't throw my Thopters at him. It's still okay, I think. But a little bit more risky than I would have liked. So we'll throw some Thopters at him. Wait, he's still dead. What am I? No, no, he's not dead. Because I can only throw 2. These don't have trample either, right? Okay. We're still okay. He can't activate 2 of them next turn because they take 4. So yeah, we're okay. We're fine. We just have to do Foundry the Consoles defensively. And hope he doesn't top deck anything too nuts. So yeah, if I had attacked with everything, he could activate Lumbering Falls, block P and Kiran Alar. He would only take 5, and P and Kiran Alar would die before I could throw artifacts at him. He would have been dead had I attacked with Thopter Engineer the turn before. So that 1 point of damage did give my opponent at least an extra turn to do something. All right, let's activate the Foundry. All right. Opponent decided he'd had enough. So playing against Rug. What do I like against Rug? Well, what do I like against Rug? That's a good question. Roast seemed great. Still kills Savage Knuckleblade. Wild Slash seems worse than Fire. Well, I was going to say because of Lumbering Falls, but Lumbering Falls has Hexproof, so I can't do anything about that anyway. Seismic Rupture, I guess, deals with stupid Den Protector, but so does Wild Slash. I think from what I saw, there's not really a sideboard plan against this deck that we're already not main decking. Right? I mean, Disdainful Stroke hit nothing that we saw. Negate. Is he going to bring in Radiant Flames? Probably. I could see that. Do I want to bring in counters for Radiant Flames? I don't know. He is 3 color because of the... Yeah, so he can hit for 3. It's pretty big. I don't know how... I mean, I could preemptively bring in a couple negates because we know he's doing Fiery Impulse, but we just didn't see a ton of spells. I could take out a couple Wild Slash for a couple negates and just assume that Radiant Flames is coming in. It does seem like a logical assumption to assume that Radiant Flames is coming in. Okay. I'm going to go with my gut instinct here. I'm just going to take out a couple Wild Slashes, I think. Although, actually, we could take out a Sky Spawner probably. And then 1 Wild Slash. Okay, let's try this. Okay, got a mulligan. Let's see if we can't do better than that. All right, I'm going to keep it. We're going to bottom that. It's a good draw. Doesn't... Problem with Chief of the Foundry in this deck, it doesn't interact with the Vile Aggregate, but that's okay. Didn't burn the hanger back, which is interesting. Knuckle Blade. All right, let's just drop a aggregate here, and then we'll pass. Next turn, I'll get to Chief of the Foundry plus pump my hanger back. So the aggregate makes it so he can't play. Well, he could play another Savage Knuckle Blade and give it haste and still get in for 4. So I guess that does give him a pretty good play. So we'll take our medicine here. Rattleclaw Mystic, sure. So now I'm thinking my opponent didn't bring in Radiant Flames, but it's still a chance. Although, I would say he doesn't have it in hand. Well, if my opponent's ramping, it makes me curious. Alright, let's just nip Mr. Savage Knuckle Blade in the bud. And then we'll swing with aggregate, I think. And I would block a Rattleclaw Mystic Teamer Charm. Interesting. I would block a Rattleclaw Mystic and pump, and then go into a Chief of the Foundry, which I think would actually work pretty well for me. Get 2 dudes, pump Vile Aggregate, as well as my 2 flyers, and I'd be able to crack back for a lot of damage. I believe, what, 4 from this and 4 in the air, so I can crack back for 8 if my opponent goes in with Rattleclaw Mystics, assuming he doesn't have a Fiery Impulse. Okay. Savage Knuckle Blade, number 2. We'll see if he swings with the Mystics, though. I'm curious. Looks like he's not going to. All right, I'm going to take our medicine here. I am going to pump the hanger back, even though he's got Impulse mana up. Okay, did have the Impulse. I still think it was the right move to do that there. If I did it on my turn while he was tapped out, he would have been able to crack in with the Rattleclaw Mystics, which maybe means I wasn't supposed to swing with aggregate. That's also assuming my opponent didn't have another Savage Knuckle Blade, which they did. Double Chief of the Foundry. Well, Chief of the Foundry is pretty good here, actually, especially since it keeps Rattleclaw Mystics at bay. I think we're just going to play Chief and swing. This seems like a winnable race. My opponent does not have Spell Mastery yet, right? What did we get rid of? Bounding Crisis, sure. So next turn, another Chief of the Foundry. Lets me crack in for a lot of damage. No play. That's a good draw. Let's do that little bad boy, huh? Collected Company, sure. Oh yeah, we did see that spell last game. So that's a reason to bring in a Negate, I guess. Another Savage Knuckle Blade and a Bounding Crisis. We're still fine, I think. I don't think we're dead, right? Or are we? Let's see, he can tap. Why did he target that? Looks like opponent botched that play. Yeah, opponent should have tapped down one of my guys. I'm not entirely convinced it would have been lethal. Opponent also can't pump Savage Knuckle Blade, which is good news for us. Forgot about that trample. Forgot about that trample. Okay. We're definitely fine now. I think if an opponent had tapped down a Thopter, we still would have had 3 blockers, and he didn't block, let's say. I still think we would have been pretty good. Opponent's got to do something pretty spicy here. So, trying to think of my best blocks. Should I just assume he's not going in with Rattleclaw Mystic? All right, concession. Got it. Well, interesting deck. We certainly haven't seen this one yet, but I'm glad we could take it down. Collected Company is actually pretty good in this deck. The Bounding Crisis and the Savage Knuckle Blade, you get pretty good value out of it. Not like the Rally decks get value, but still pretty good. End up paying 4 mana for 6 mana in dudes. It's kind of cool. All right, we'll see you in round 2.